Hey, welcome everyone to the Sketch Zone podcast. It's your boy, Carlos Gomez. And this week we're going to finally be talking to some more 2D animators because you know that's where I live. You guys, welcome to the show.
What's team
up? Boy, let me finish. Charlie. Let us welcome you to the show, the team behind Furious and Fat Cat. You guys were talking to KL Reeves and Pierre Sutton Jr.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Welcome, fellas.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Sorry, I'm flipping around all kinds of things. I'm still getting used to this thing. Anyway, let's go ahead and welcome to the show. Charlie B. Williams is here.
Oh, I can talk now? Is it okay? I'm not going to get in trouble?
What's up, hey, you can cut Jack off all you want. Pause. That was, wow.
Anyway, stop. I get to talk now. What's up? What's up, everybody in the chat? I'm glad to be here. I'm super excited to talk to these guys. Let's go.
Hey, speaking of which, Jack is here.
I'm not even gonna waste time like that. Let's go.
Oh, now I'm wasting time. Everybody's against me today. Yeah, you go, Jack. You cut me deep, Jack.
Sorry.
So how's it going, fellas? Let's find out where. I'm still getting used to these keys, so my apologies, everyone. But KL, let's talk. Real briefly, who are you or where are you from?
Okay, I am KL Reeves, currently residing in Atlanta, Georgia, but I am a Chicagoan.
Yeah, buddy.
For about 5 years. Who am I? I'm a husband, dad, writer. Been writing for 18 years since school. I studied with Jamaica Kincaid at Harvard grad, and been writing since undergraduate. And so maybe about 5 years ago, I made the switch from the page to the screen. It was, for me, visual storytelling is the vanguard. And I just wanted to try my hand there. Yeah. So for the last 5 years, I've been writing scripts. And I knew that being an outsider, I would have to create, instead of putting another script in the slush pile, I'd have to create something to show people first, right? Yeah, show people, and then we could be off. And so right now it's working out. It's working out.
Cool. How about you, Pierre? What's going on with you?
So same thing. I'm from Chicago as well. Me and Kevin actually met in high school. We've been friends since, way back in the day.
Back in the day?
Always been a writer at heart. Went away to school for a little while, downstate Illinois, came back. And
did you go to Southern?
Started a family. No, actually, I went to a private school called Millikan University.
Chicago, he knows Millikan.
Yeah. I've heard of Millikan.
Yeah. So Millikan, Big Blue, went down there for a year, came back, started a family, published a book of poems and short stories, and then, went to UCLA, did their screenwriting program, 2011. Got back into it. I took a little pause from writing, doing the creative thing, to take care of my family, raise them and the kids, and get them, situated. Then I actually went back to writing 2018. Wrote a play for the Arts in the Armed Forces, semifinals with that, and that was just, that like revitalized me as far as creatively. And then me and Kevin, we were just trying to figure out ways to connect and to do something and to bring to the world. And Furious and Fat Cat was born like December 2018.
Nice.
When Kevin, the idea sparked in Kevin, and he hit me up with a text, and then I sent him a voice memo of some funny stuff, and it's been on and popping since.
Nice.
Have you guys found it hard to, like, you guys are talking about how, sorry, technical difficulties here. Here we go. You guys have been talking about how you guys have known each other since high school. Is it tough to, well, number one, maintain a friendship from high school? I mean, sure, Facebook helps a lot, but being able to stay connected and then having enough, what would it be? Enough, pride is the wrong word, enough, what am I looking for? To be able to work on a project together. Confidence, enough confidence in each other.
What's interesting is that he and I, so we were teammates. We were teammates in high school, right? So we already have sort of that bond where you're learning how to work and win with someone, right? So we had that. But Pierre and I have been creative partners since we were in our early 20s. So this has really been real seamless for us. And you know what I'm saying? Like, we used to walk around the park for hours talking about Ralph Ellison and James Baldwin and Richard Wright. These are all literary writers. Like, I'm talking about circling the park, just talking about craft, right? I mean, you all are all artists, right? So just imagine, just dig that, right? Just hours on end talking about craft, right? And so we just were waiting. And when we were in our early 20s, we were rolling. We were doing poetry slams together. We would write plays. We're doing all this stuff, right? But he said life happens, right? He has 4 kids. And so at one point it was like, should we get these books or is it diapers, right? So obviously diapers are going to win, right? You know,
right, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So we had to and we're friends. So aside from the work, the professional stuff, we're the best of friends. And so, and we're also, you know, we can talk it out no matter what, you know what I mean? So we're honest with each other, right? And good friends, just like a great relationship, you're gonna have times where you disagree, but we don't take it personally, you know? Like for example, in terms of craft, our episode 5, Baba Wazi, Pierre wrote like a whole, he wrote like a 30-page episode. I'm like, dude, this is a web series. This is
episodic.
Yeah.
He's like, take this, Star Wars.
It was good writing, but I was like, nah, this is not it, man. This is like ER. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to, you know.
Yeah, we just gotta cut this up in episodes.
This is 10 episodes, and when I went, I just wrote it, and it was cool. He had no ego. Same thing for him. Like I'll write something, he's like, nah, you shouldn't say it like that, right? And it's like, yeah, that's the best thing. We just want to win. You know, we want to win together. And so it's been really great to work with, you know, my partner, man. And I think it works out. Like, that's what I'm hoping it works out, man, because you often hear, I was watching the Oscars, and Ryan Coogler was it his cinematographer? Who was it? The guy.
It was did the soundtrack. Ludwig. He did the music for Childish Gambino. You know, Waking My Love. Yeah. And then he did the score for Black Panther.
They had known each other for 17 years. They were roommates as kids, right?
Yeah.
And they were dreaming of a time later on that they could possibly do something really cool. And I think, like, creative partnerships that, like, you have to have a strong relationship because it's a lot of tension. Like, right now, we're exhausted. It's a lot going on. It's been a roller coaster, you know? So you got a good relationship to make stuff like this work. So it works out, you know.
Especially Pierre. Like, what are you doing full time right now?
Full time, I'm in the Air Force. I'm a ICBM launch control officer. So out here in North Dakota, out here in North Dakota, you know.
So number one,
going 60 feet deep, and you know, get my hands on the switches. Well, ready to put my hands on the switches and ready, you know, and launch if need to.
I understand where you're coming from, because when I was in the service, I was playing with those Nuki Nukes, and And you know, like I was there when Desert Storm was happening, and my mom was like, "Oh my God!" My grandmother was like, you let your boys go into the army, now they're gonna die." And I was telling my mom, "Mom, I have top secret clearance. I can't say anything, but if they call me, we all got problems." So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, man, thank you for your service. Thank you for being out there getting it done.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah. So then, I'm assuming, like, so Jack and Charlie, you guys have known me long enough. You know I'm about to dig up some dirt right now.
Yeah. Here we go.
So you got KL, who has the original idea, and then you have Pierre, who's in the military, who don't take no doo doo.
You see this? Yeah.
So I want to know, do you guys go like rock, paper, scissors when you guys are at that one point when you're trying to make a decision, or is just you guys plead your case and best man wins?
Yeah, usually it's, we plead our case, best man wins. A lot of times it really doesn't come down to that, because like I say, right now we're just at a point to where like creatively we're just like in sync, right? And so like Kevin, he's the creator of it. So like I tell him like he has ideas already in his head that, that I'm not aware of, that he has, that he might not necessarily be aware of, but he is still formulating. And so I might send him something, like a scene or two or whatever. And it's like, okay, yeah, that I was thinking of something different, or damn, I really like that. Like that's it, and he'll just, we'll just talk about it,
Yeah.
What I tell him, and that's about being a good partner, collaboration and stuff like that. What I tell him is, look, I'll send you, 30 pages, like with the Babawazi. Look, it don't matter if we use any of those 30. Like we can use one line from it. We can use 10 pages from it, or we can use none of the pages. But it's just important to getting the ideas out, showing them, what my thought process is, and then just linking it up together. And that's the way we come up with, a lot of great material. So
yeah.
Question, Pierre.
Yeah.
When you're writing, and this is for you too, Evan, when you guys are writing, is it more so therapeutic for you guys in general? So, because it seems like you easily can spit out 30 pages, and that's why it doesn't really matter. But you had fun writing it anyway, and now you just
exactly.
Say,
yeah, and that's what I tell Kevin. Especially since I was, like I said, I pretty much stifled my creativity for about a good, 12 years.
So what you're saying is kids just squash creativity.
Well, yeah, they do.
Look at
to a certain extent, they do, because they take so much energy and focus. You know what I'm saying? And I want to be attentive to my, my family. I want my kids to know who I am, especially, being in the military, with deployments and tours of duty and stuff like that. So I always wanted to, be there for my kids, be there for those special events. And a lot of times when it comes to, especially being creative, especially with writing, like you're trying to come up with something from scratch. Right. So it takes a certain amount of energy and mental, fortitude for you to do that. And so I've gotten to a point to where I can do that, and so, that's why for me, like I say, giving Kevin 10 pages, 30 pages, however many pages, it's just about getting those reps. While I took my hiatus, Kevin knocked out 9 books.
yeah.
Literally.
That makes sense. Yeah.
No,
he's like, I did.
That's a great question because, one of the reasons I created Fierce and Fat Cat, I needed to laugh. Like all my stuff that I've done has been serious. My last book was on mass incarceration. And I'm like, man, this is a grind. It's hard. Writing is incredibly hard, right? It's a hard thing, And so I was like, look, this next project, I want to laugh. I want it to be silly. I want it to be, I want it to be fun. And so it's fun for us. I mean, it is. And it's work. It's a lot of work. But having done it for so long, I do it pretty efficiently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, so that part, the hard part right now, I'm sure we'll talk about this later, isn't the creative part. It's the business.
Oh.
Right? It's the business side. That's what we're, like the writing thing, we got cold. We got that thing killed. You know what I mean? But it's like, That's nothing.
Yeah.
But it's about the other stuff, you know, which honestly probably matters more, you know.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about doing, you know, if you're able, you know, that you can throw out 30 pages at the drop of a hat, 30 quality pages, and that stuff is never lost, right? If you just keep those pages, you're gonna see like eventually there's an episode, like you guys are gonna be writing an episode, and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, there's this one part of those 30 pages that we had, and you pluck those out.
Yeah, like for our promos, we were, you know, we wrote tons of sketches that will never be seen or whatever. But we're thinking about we did some promo videos before we launched the series. We did like some animation. This is very crude. So we can talk about the animation. We went through, this is our third animator, right? So we went through a series of animators. The first animator was a friend, he was a friend, and
we good. We understand. We good.
But we came with these sketches, and we, like, one of them, we had two guys playing video games, and Fat Cat is dominating Furious, right? And they're just going back and forth talking stuff. That came out of one of the sketches that we scrapped, and then we just pulled it out and was like, hey, this could be a promo. So to your point, yeah, that stuff, it remains there. And it, like, we'd almost forgotten about it. And I think Pierre was the one like, hey, remember we talked about when they were like going back and forth saying bet, you know, like, oh, we could get, people love that promo, right? It got so much engagement, even with the like crude 2D. I mean, it was just their mouths moving, right? Blah, blah, like that, right? And people still loved it. So yeah, I think at that point we knew we had something. You know what I mean? When they could see the spirit of it.
And I've been checked out all the episodes, and you can see a definite progression of quality, both in writing and the animation part too. Yeah. So I can tell, me personally, because there's things that I can pick out, be like, this is happening, right? But number one, you guys never asked me, but number two, I can see that you guys are starting to pick a lot of those things out yourself. Like something as simple as Furious, like now you guys have him, like when he looks up and he's like, oh man, like his head actually moves back. Right. It's not always like rah, 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 and then, you know. Right.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of really cool things that you guys are starting to pick up on and starting to run the ball.
Yeah, and that's a part of that is also what we're doing is very hard because our animator, shout out to Vanek Douglas, Vanek Arts, he's great. He's been our collaborator for the core from the King of R&B, Shallow, Lady Gaga Shallow, all the way through, you know, Babawazi. And so us getting more familiar with each other, right? And he's in LA, he's out west. And so we're communicating. Actually, we need to do this more, but mostly it's like by phone, text message. Like, can you imagine? It's, you know, the best artists produce like when people are there together, right? For that synergy. Right. Yeah. So he's a stranger. Pierre found him, you know, and we've so what you're seeing is that progression as well, because he's really, really talented. And also we're limited based on our budget, right? And you know what I mean? It can only be so smooth, right? You know, it can only be, especially with one animator. I know you all can appreciate how difficult it is to do a 5 minutes of animation, right, by yourself, right? It's not a lot of our fans don't get that. Like we've educated ourselves. Like neither Pierre, we're the writers, we're the directors, the producers, but we've taken the time to learn the craft from to get perspective, right? So we can communicate. You know, I've read all kind of books at this point. Don't quiz me on stuff, but we have. We did the job.
You understand, right? Like quality versus time. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm glad that you, like me and Kevin met. I don't even know how many. I think I was still living in Chicago at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
And the fact that you reached out for just, even if it was just like a pep talk, like I'm here, man. Like, even if it's just to bounce ideas off of me or like just getting some quick thoughts, whatever, like I'll share what I know because I'm in the thick of it too. And so I like, for as much of animating and drawing and all that stuff I like to do, I actually prefer helping out way more too, if that makes sense. You know, I love seeing people succeed, and I'm hoping that clears my chi or my karma, because things are tough. But you know what I mean? Like, just being able to like reach out and have some people to bounce ideas off of, like, yo, this is what we're doing. What do you think? And then like we chopped it up for an hour or so, a couple weeks ago. You know what I mean? Yeah. So. So yeah, it was dope, and I get excited when people are doing 2D projects too. Speaking of which, were you gonna say something, Jack?
No, I just said, yeah, you do.
Yeah, yeah. Bring it home, Klaus.
Yeah, Klaus. Yeah, man, great.
Pierre, do you like, now that you guys are like knee deep and you guys have like what, 6 episodes done?
Well, as far as animated done,
yeah.
So we have 5 episodes that were fully animated, but like Kevin said, we had an entire first season. Like, if you go to our YouTube page and go to our channel, we have a whole lineup of like 10 episodes for the first season that we were gonna do. And so yeah, we cut it off at 5 because it was like, okay, I think we have enough. Also, we just needed, to go out, and then we were getting great engagement from Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that. And so it's like, okay, let's see, you know what? Instead of keep doing these 5 minute, let's see if we can get Bannock some help, see if we can get and expand this more. Bring in get a score, going some sound editing, some true sound editing. Nice. Bring in, open up the world. We want to expand the world. So that's why we held off on the rest of the season 1, and so we're just going with this 30-minute pilot.
Yeah, we've had to suppress our writing ability to do this because, like seriously, like, it's the couch. Like, literally, you see us on the couch. We're a minimal product because we can only do so much with 3 guys. You know what I mean? And so I even told Pierre, I'm like, look, write on your phone, because what it's going to do is it's going to if you write on your keyboard, you're going to write a 30-minute to an hour script.
I'm writing final draft. Don't use Ozzy script. I wrote in final draft.
I was like, dude, I write them on my phone, man. Like, just because it's just quick, it's easy, and it keeps it short, right? So that got we want to really, like Pierre said, expand the world. We want to introduce more characters. We want to, we want to do that, and so we'll see.
That's super interesting about you using your phone. Is it just because the whole texting nature and you thinking about what you write at the same time causes you to think faster and write shorter? You feel more comfortable on a computer, so you get into it too much and you get over wordy or whatever?
On the computer, I've written books. Like, when I put my hands to the keyboard, I write 100,000 word books. You understand? So I had to reprogram my mind to be quick. Yeah. I've never written this way. Like, I think great writers can write whatever, right? I've written nonfiction, fiction, sports articles, different things. So I had to train myself to write sketches. Not only sketches, like 5 minute, 3 minute. And so the phone, it's small, so it allows you just to keep it tight. I'm in notes. I'm literally hitting my iPhone notes. Blah, 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 blah,
wow.
Blah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Right, like that. And so we're not doing all the, interior day. We're not doing. We would do that. We have done that for our
cut twos.
Right.
Yeah. Not doing some of the cuts, but mostly it's just like getting out banging the dialogue out. It's really dialogue and character driven, and just doing it like that, man. So it's just learning all the time, constant learning. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask what gave you, because I know you got a whole bunch of different things going on. You're writing a lot of different stuff, but you said you had sent him a text like, "Let's do this." What was like the initial spark? What made you guys want to do this specific project?
It's a great question. So the year before, I'd given up. This is the truth. I'd given up, and I was like, dude, it's not for me. So I created a nonprofit around literacy, and I was like, man, if I'm not the guy that's going to be known for selling a million books, I want to be known for the guy that gave 1 million books away to kids, right? Very naive, noble, endeavor, very naive, but created this whole nonprofit organization called Dream Reachers. The mission was to get poor families books 0 through 5, because those years are critical for literacy. Get kids books, because books are very expensive. Like, you go to a kid's bookstore, you can walk out with $100 with 3 books easy, right? So what about a poor family? So create this whole thing, and I had paid for a site, wasted money, paid for a site, did all these things like a donors choose type site, like thousands and thousands of dollars. So I needed to find a way to explain how the organization worked, and I wrote a script for an explainer animation. And this is when I recruited my friend. He's a comics guy. He's just stills. And I was like, dog, that's like 1920s. No disrespect to anybody that loves comics. You know what I'm saying? Like, comics are great.
The record scratched just now.
No.
Charlie, let go of your heart.
It's like jazz. No, listen, it's beautiful. Like, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. Comics are great. What I'm saying is, like, if you want to, like, he had ambition, and I'm saying, like, expand. You can just expand, right? So I was like, I basically make SHIT move, make it move, man. Learn how to make it move. And so literally, he went from drawing to animating, and he animated the explainer animation, right? And when I saw, we hired a professional voice actor. When I saw those characters on that explainer come to life, it was like eureka. It's like, oh, I can tell stories through animation. Pierre and I were always fans. I love animation, right? Like, so I was like, wow. Okay, so I don't need a DP. I don't need actors. I don't, the illustrator, the animator is essentially, you all are the actors. You know what I'm saying? Like, you create that's what planted the seed. And so I knew, though, that it had to be a minimal, to get it off the ground, it had to be 2 characters, right? So for months, I was thinking about what would be a cool story to tell with just 2 guys, So I was throwing around, then the names came, the personalities came. And then once I had it, and Pierre and I had already been talking about working together. Like, we were talking about plays, maybe about Chicago, and we were throwing stuff around. It just didn't feel right. In the meantime, I'm thinking about this, and so when I had it, I wrote a few like sketches, see if it felt right, and then I had it. I was like, I called him right away that night, and literally that night he came up with a voice memo. His son was into unboxings on YouTube.
Yeah. Is that the sexy one?
Yeah, that's so sexy. Yeah,
he sent a voice memo that night, so it was like eureka for both of us, right? I told him about it, like, here's the deals, here's the details, and he was like, boop, and he sent me the funniest voice memo. Like, I was playing it over and over and then cracking up, right? Ooh, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so sexy was like one of the first things, and it just, it just worked. So that's how it happened. It happened just by seeing the visual storytelling and being like, hey, I can do this, and it just progressed from there, and so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Pierre, how is it? Do you directly work with the animators at all?
So as far as directly, the way we work with the animators is through, like, say, phone communication, text message. The way we found Kevin, he met our second animator. He was a guy from Atlanta. He went and met him, had to sit down with him and everything like that. But as far as our current animator, Vanek, now I found him. We were actually trying to figure out some things like with Facebook and stuff like that, and the different advertising stuff. And we had headaches. It was like a Friday, like, and we were like, man, like it got to be a better way.
Current animator, so that's another.
Yeah. So it was like, man, it has to be a better way. And so I'm part of a group called Veterans in Media and Entertainment, and I just happened to log in there, and Vanek, and he had a post like, hey, looking for work, you know. Animator, he had his slide deck up, and I sent him a text. I sent him a message like, hey, you know, let it work with you, let it talk to you. And I told Kevin, and he was like, yeah, let's talk to him. And we talked to him, and thankfully, you know, he agreed to come work with us. And yeah, it's been great. But yeah, that's as far as our communication. It's been all distance communication. So
yeah,
it would be nice, you know, to like Kevin was talking about, bringing everything in the house so we can get that synergy. Because as you see, like we were mentioning, you know, with the characters, like with Furious, you know, his different mannerisms and their different mannerisms, it's starting to come out more because, you know, Vanek, a lot of that stuff is intuitive to him, you know. So that's what's being picked up on. And then but once I can guarantee you, once we get in the room together, you know, we actually start creating and we're doing different things. I can, you know, the quality and the level of, you know, the animation is gonna go up. You know?
What's the term called? Rotoscoping.
Yeah.
Right. We want to do. I mean, that's the kind of stuff. I mean, into the verse. You see those, like, you know, maybe it's a common practice, but it's something that we would like to do, honestly. You know, to help translate.
I'll have to send you guys a link to some of my stuff because I got some of that stuff too.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, that stuff, all that stuff. I've been dibbling dabbling, but yeah, just to show you guys. I'm not trying to apply. I'm going to go to Veterans in Media. I'm going to go to Veterans in Media and Animation right after this. So.
That's the point too, though. Like, it's not about, you know, having one animator and me and Kevin just being the only two writers. Like, that's why we want collaboration. We know, especially for artists, that's extremely important. You know, you look at The Simpsons. You know, we go back to The Simpsons. Simpsons been on for almost 30 years. You know, my entire life, almost.
Right.
You know, Conan O'Brien wrote on The Simpsons. Like all type of different folks have written, you know, for The Simpsons, and that's why it keeps going, because, you know, it doesn't get stale. They always find out some kind of way to make the ordinary, you know. Like, Homer's been doing the same thing for the last 25 years. Art for the first 5 to 10 years of that, it was Bart's show.
Right.
You know, it transitioned to Homer's, and, you know, and Lisa has her own story, and Maggie is still just sucking on a pacifier. You know.
Yeah, she ain't never grown up.
Right? She's been a baby for 30 years, that poor thing. Yeah. She got that Benjamin Buttons.
At least let her talk.
Yeah, because, you know, just how me and Kevin, we feed off each other, and of course we bring in more writers, we'll feed off of their energy and the ideas they bring, but same thing with the animators.
Right.
You know, we want to have a team of animators where they're just coming up with stuff. They're just trying things out and just coming up and feeding off each other. That's what makes, you know, things great. That's what takes any project to the next level. That's what they did with Star Wars, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they were just trying stuff out. They were inventing technology, literally, you know. Even James Cameron. Think of any movie that stands the test of time. The Matrix. Like, they were just trying shit out. Like, man. Okay.
And they killed it with that one.
Yeah.
Well, so, to this day, Will Smith kicks himself in the ass for not.
It does. For not being Neo. But
yeah, I think Keanu was the right guy for it, though, right?
Yeah,
right.
I
it
agree.
Often turns out that way. But no, I'm very curious about learning, and maybe we could talk about this a bit more. So Matthew Cherry gave us a shout out he backed our Kickstarter and then gave us a very public shout out. And for those that don't know Matthew Cherry, he's a Academy Award nominee for a short film. His short film was Hair Love, and we think he's going to win it. And so, you know, it's a great guy. But so when you look at the credits, like we're entering this world. There's also, for this short film, there was 20 animators, right? It's a lot. So for me, I'm very curious, like if we're privileged enough to transition, to move this into the industry, right? Like to take Furious and Fat Cat as a brand, as a product, as a show, and we're doing all kind of things behind the scenes right now. Good conversations are happening. What does that look like going from what we have a very minimal product, one animator, to 15 or 10, or like what does that look like? And I'm also curious about if we'll be able to bring our team with us, right? Like Vanek, like I would love to bring Vanek. You know, like I want to, I really do want to give people opportunity. You know, I don't know but I don't know what that's going to look like, right? Like how much power we'll have if it happens. Like it's all very premature at this point, you know, like we're just trying to get there. But yeah, I'm just curious, like, will they just bring on a studio? Will it, you know, we have something that works in terms of the art style and the 2D, the art style, people like it, right? So let's not change it too much. So I'm just curious about that, how that could go, you know? With the animators specifically, you know?
Jack, you feel like chiming in on that?
I mean, that's a little Pandora's box. I mean, it could go any way, any number of ways, any number of ways that you want it to. I mean, obviously you can produce an animation for almost, I don't know what you're paying your current animator, if you're paying him at all. Obviously we paying him. Yeah. The only one to pay at this point.
Pierre's like, hell yeah.
But obviously, you know, you can produce an animation for very little cost if you've got a lot of sweat equity behind it, and your scope, as you've been talking about, your scope is small, but and it can go all the way up to, you know, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. But I mean, the nice thing about what you guys are doing is that it is scalable in the short term, in the near future, in that dealing with a kind of a limited set of characters, and there's a lot of technology. And Carlos can talk about some stuff too that fits exactly the style that you guys are going for, especially for like webtoons and a lot of like Big Mouth and Our Cartoon President. Like these are all things that are like now hitting mainstream that are utilizing these kind of more simplistic animation, and it's really all about the writing and the characters.
Right.
So, I mean, my advice would be, you know, get yourself someone who's effectively an art director. That would be sort of the visual vision for it. If that's one of you, that's great. If not, you know, find someone to head that up, because they can assemble a team under them, hopefully in the most minimal way possible. You know, you're probably going to get a lot of folks like Vanek, like you already have, who can do a lot of different things. So, you know, you can start with a small team, and it's kind of like basically look at what you have now with one guy, and you can kind of exponentially multiply that. So it's like if you have 3 guys, it's not like you get 3 times the power. It's almost like you get 30 times, because they can kind of all collaborate and build off it. And you got each person focuses on a different realm of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's an amazing answer. And I like you saying, the art director, I think that's key, because that's like really good, that's key. I always defer to the experts, right? And so I need someone who can communicate with the artists, you know, with the animators, right? Someone who's in that world. I mean, typically is the art director that guy, like he used to animate and he understands the
and he might even still animate.
Yeah, the art direction tends to kind of come from a lot of various fields. It depends on obviously what part of the industry you're in, but a lot of those guys come up from illustration. Some of them come from animation. Some of them are really more interested just in actual direction, but they sort of came up from the visual side of it.
Sure.
But the nice thing about the whole, and that's a very loose term. I mean, every company, every setup kind of uses these titles very differently, but that type of art direction role is really good, because it sounds like you guys have a pretty strong character voice and writing voice. So you want somebody that's going to kind of helm up the visual aspect of it and give that its own unique flair, and then of course that somebody is going to be able to tell you exactly what you can do for the most money and or for the least amount of money, biggest bang for your buck, and kind of where to distribute the work. I mean, that's something that even the big studios do. I mean, the show that I work on, that was something that we did early on. We were cast as this very low tiered budget show. And in doing that, it's like, everybody thinks like, oh, we have no money, that's the worst news in the world. But not really. It's kind of like a nice creative box you've been given, right? And so the very first thing you decide is like, okay, with this budget, what can we do? And what components and creative looks, styles, scope of writing, like all those things play, like how can we use that to our advantage and really push the limited budget we may have. So like in our case, it was like we really pushed the like painterly kind of cartoon style because it was a little faster and cheaper to do, but we could make it look bigger. So an art director is somebody that would be able to kind of advise you on that. Like if you guys are really just focused on a cast of characters, then maybe you tailor your entire structure towards that. If maybe it's more about exploring worlds and you want to get them out of the couch, then maybe you got somebody who has solutions as to how to optimize scope of world.
Yeah. Would that help them to have with that art director role, Jack? Would that help them then if they have their main focus on the characters? Would one that can like help visualize the backgrounds or be more visual development with that, to work with the animator on a smaller team like that, our director gets in there. Maybe it's the art director has an illustrative background, like you're saying. So then it's more of like, they're like that director of photography or layout and like making one section of the animation look better, which is maybe backgrounds and all that good stuff, and then having that visual language there would then start feeding into the characters, lighting, and all that good stuff. You see what I'm saying? Like, in order to fit them into where they have a small team now, what part are they lacking in? Maybe that side of the visual development could help, and then they could show them on the path. Okay, this is how we can make it bigger, but we can start by building up the background since your animator is already on point. Yeah, and that would influence the animator. I don't know. I was just thinking. A lot of times art directors and stuff and that does a lot of visual development with that and starts with like the scenery and look, and that tells a story in itself also, But.
Yeah, we put the episodes out there. We've had over 2 million impressions. We've reached 1.2 million people. Mm-hmm. And so we imagine the comments that we get, right? So people are very sophisticated, particularly on Instagram. Instagram is a platform for a lot of creators, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see, to Facebook, we're starting to learn like the differences of the audiences, and so Instagram people will really dig in. And so one of the times, because it's just one guy, and we don't have background artists and these different things, so he'll take some shortcuts, and then we notice it, and we talk about it, Pierre and I. But listen, we're limited, right? We get it, but sometimes we're like, hey. We got to put our best foot forward because we're really serious about this. We're really pushing this. So the audience I never heard of iReady graphics before. I had to Google it. And then
choose your next words wisely.
Huh? What's that?
Choose your next words wisely. Because if you say anything about going to Fiverr or anything, like we could wrap this up right now.
No. Somebody commented and was like, iReady graphics, but I like everything else, right? And so I was like, what are they talking about, And I'm like, oh, right, like they're talking about the back. They're like looking, like our audience really looks at the background, every element of the art. Yeah. And we're a startup, but it looks good, so they're like really scrutinizing this.
Yeah, right.
And so I guess like what you're always saying is like in terms of expanding the world, and we'll be able to have more attention to detail to that little stuff. Like in Sick Day, we told them to put this. We had an episode later on called Golden Burger. In the hood, they're waiting like 3 hours for this burger. You know what I mean? And like the Furious can't believe it.
It happens.
Yeah, So we told them to put a soda cup on the nightstand. It was a really nice touch. Like these had these little Easter eggs there. Mm-hmm. Right. So we were doing that in the earlier episodes, and we sort of got away from it. Because obviously it's more labor intensive to do that kind of thing, but it paid off. That's our most. Not only is the script, was funny and whatever, but visually, I think it's our most popular episode, not only because it's a funny script, but also visually. I mean, you got Fat Cat's hoodie on the ground. You got books. You got, you know what I mean? It's a lot that's there.
Set dressing, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's there. It's there. You know, and so
those are some of the things, kind of like what Jack was talking about. Your creative director would be able to help with that stuff and help with, number one, continuity. Number two, dropping in some of those little clever things that, and it's those things. Kind of like when you're watching response videos for rap songs, right? You got all these people breaking down all the bars, right? Oh, he said this and that and this and that. Those are things that the general public don't really pick up, especially when they're listening to the song one way through. They're just enjoying the beat, whatever. Maybe they catch a word or two. But to have someone breaking down the bars to say, oh, he said this, he was referring to that, and then this over here, blah, 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 right? So you basically have someone breaking down your bars, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah. So,
but with that being said, like it's really cool that you guys are already hitting on the social media part, because I'm gonna build off of what Jack said. You have a small team with unlimited possibility. You guys have a great idea because, and it's not just me saying that. That's, what'd you say, 1.2 million people collectively you've reached? So there's 1.2 million people that are checking out your stuff.
Yeah, 700,000 engagements on that 1.2 million.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
And so the cool thing is that you're doing the marketing part of the business already. And you don't need a publisher, because that's why you guys have YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, right? That's the publisher. That's the movie house. So you're proving to not only the world but to yourselves that what you guys have is a viable idea. And we live in a world where you're able to take this idea and you guys are literally finding your niche. You guys are finding your audience. And they're finding you, because especially, who'd you say? Matthew Cherry. Like, bro, that's a big dude. He carries a lot of water. So for him to kick in, he wants to see this happen. Like, that's showing you guys that you guys are on the right path. And then and this whole business part of it, you guys are doing it on accident. Not on accident, but you guys are accomplishing things. And it seems like you it might be too easy because people overthink the business end of it. But you guys are literally doing the business end of it.
Yeah.
You guys are doing the marketing. You guys are doing the advertising. Now you guys are doing the financing with the Kickstarter. So what you guys are doing, just keep doing it. Just build on it.
Yeah.
And then you'll see, like, once this Kickstarter goes and you guys fulfill this budget, you're going to start building your team. And then once you start putting things on YouTube, then you're going to be making more money. And then you're going to be able to make a bigger team. And then instead of just Furious and Fat Cat, you could do Their Next Door Neighbors. And then you'll have all kinds of other properties that you'll be able to continue building off of, right?
Yeah.
So literally everything that you guys are doing right. You just have to build on it. And that comes with time, right?
Yeah.
Because every script that you guys write, it's getting better, faster, easier, because you guys are getting comfortable with the characters and you guys are going to understand who's going to say what when. And all that stuff is going to get easier. And the animators are going to come in and the more comfortable you guys are with your not environment, with your universe that you've just created.
Mm-hmm. All right.
The more comfortable you guys are, the more comfortable, the faster the animators will be. And then the faster they will be, the less hand-holding you have to do. And the faster they get, the more Easter eggs they get to come back to adding to the different things, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I'll be dropping Easter eggs on almost everything I do.
Yeah. No, we know the universe, and this is, like Jack was saying, this is going to be, it's about the writing. It's about the characters. It's not, it's about the writing. It really is. It's about the writing. It's about the characters. We really view it. The show happens to be animated. Like, we're viewing this as a show, right? Like, we're taking this.
And that's
serious.
the right attitude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if it wasn't, for as much of a 2D junkie as I am, we can be real. Simpsons have been on TV for 30 years because they have dope writing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And look at South Park.
Yeah, come on. You can't get more than that. You know what I mean? And they're like moving across the screen like, right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of monsters out there that, you know, there are some that are gorgeous that you're gonna want to see, but then like 2-3 episodes in, honestly, the gorgeousness becomes the mundane. It's the writing that keeps you on TV for 30 years.
Yeah.
You know. So you guys are handling the hard part.
Yeah. And we've
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Keep going. I won't. I'll say
Jack, were you trying to get my attention?
Oh.
No? Oh. And now the hard part is finding this money. And so that's why the Kickstarter's out there. So what triggered the necessity, I guess, for Kickstarter?
We ran out of money. we couldn't self-fund it anymore. We're not rich guys, you know what I mean? We're like we're guys that have day jobs and families, and we couldn't, and we wanted to continue to increase the world, right? But we just couldn't, because it's expensive. And to pay our animators, and to pay them to do quality work, and to pay them to do quality work in a certain period of time, right? All of that costs, and we respect it, and I always tell Art Vanek, I'm like, man, I know we're getting you at a discount, and I appreciate you, right? He believes in our stories so much. Like, he's given us, I've seen the market. I know what the market is, right? And he's right there. Like, he's a guy that just hasn't gotten his shot. He should have a shot, right? He would flourish if he got around like in a studio, like the things, like that synergy, you can learn from other people.
Right.
He hasn't had that shot, man. You know what I'm saying? So I look at him as like, man, this guy's around the cusp. So we're getting really high level. And I've also looked out there and seen, others with freelance, or we'll call them amateur animation. And so, like, I know what we're getting. I mean, heck, when I was doing the explainer animations, I saw quotes for like a 1-minute explainer vector kind of, you know what I mean? Like, not really, so you're
talking like the motion graphic style, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which
which is a completely different animal.
That's right.
And the fact that you understand that makes me happy and proud.
I told you, I dig in, my friend. I'm a student of the game, and so absolutely we get the nuance. And so we ran out of money, and we wanted to keep doing it. People wanted us to keep doing it. When's the next episode? Bring an episode out. We getting these comments, man. So Pierre was like, "Hey, what you want to circle back and think about the kick?" Because I was hesitant,
right?
Just because what we're going through right now, I got a lot of pride, and it's very. I'm a look myself in the mirror kind of guy. We're going to get it done, and it's very hard to be like, hey, help us out, for me.
I feel you.
Yeah, it's tough, and it's tough right now. You know what I mean? We thought the 50,000 was the amount that we needed to do, a 30-minute, given what we had been doing, That was the amount. You know, we couldn't go any lower than that to build a team of like probably 3. That we team of 3 animators. So we'll see. We're hoping we get blessings, man. We're hoping that we've got a lot of big donations.
Yeah.
We were hoping for more smaller donations, especially given like the zeal for the series. You know, but I know things are tough. Like I get it. We didn't have much money growing up, and so I understand that large part of our audience is probably, reflects that demographic. You understand? And a lot of people aren't even familiar with Kickstarter, right? Like they don't even know what it is.
Right.
Too.
That's
educating,
That's a big part of it, just educating folks, to let them know, like, okay, they see it. They're like, okay, well, man, okay, I got y'all when I get paid. It's like, well, you can, with Kickstarter, you don't get, charged until the end of the,
your pledge doesn't come out. Your pledge doesn't come out.
And only if it's, if
it succeeds,
if it succeeds.
People, but people don't know that,
Yeah. So
they're like, oh man, I got you, on the 15th, as soon as it, as soon as my check comes, and so as soon as I get the direct deposit, so that's a part of it too, so just the education part, and all of it is a learning experience. Right now, I think we're at like 10%. What we at? No, 20%.
20%. 23 days to go. I mean, we're behind. We're not on track, but we're doing okay. I think I've seen some of these things, like they tend to have a rush in the end. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, just talking with you guys this evening just reminds me of like years and years ago we spoke with Anthony Piper. He was doing back then. He was doing a comic strip called Trill League, and trying to get that off the ground and stuff like that. And
I would like to point out that he was struggling too until he came on to Sketch Zone. All of a sudden, he's hanging out with 50 Cent and shit,
Yeah, so we talked about this evening, like, writing first and having that good story to bring your audience back. And like he did a Kickstarter as well, because like he was doing comic strips, 5 or 6 panels, black and white, and like they were like so funny because like there was just like funny situations similar to what you guys had. Like when I knew you guys were coming on the show, I checked out the YouTube channel and like watched that video, but the sexy one stood out to me because I watched it the whole time because it was the first one I watched, and I was like, and then at the end I was like, these guys are silly. So like the reason why I chuckling to myself, I was like, okay. And that's the same thing I did when I first read Anthony stuff. I was like, that's just a silly premise. Like the whole thing, they made me watch that whole video, and then it did make me laugh at the end, So like I get the same type of vibes and stuff like that. And like Carlos said, Anthony was going through the same thing, and Anthony was an artist, similar to what you talk about your animator and stuff like that. He talked about, and he's originally from Chicago, also getting his start and having someone believe in him, giving him that start and going into animation, and veering off into these other routes, just like you say, like now you're in the military. He had to veer off and come back, but he always had this one idea that he kept wanting to push. So I would say keep going, because years and years later, I was telling Jack and Carlos that, like, as soon as I saw the announcement on Vanity or whatever that like his Trill League got picked up as an animated series, and like 50 Cent is like the executive producer and is going to be on wherever they're going to put it on, I was like, he did it.
Quibi. It's Quibi.
It's on. Quibi, and it's coming out. It's coming out like in what was it, Jack? April 2020, I think. I told you April.
Yeah, I was
May.
just like, man, like that was 3. I have to go back on the website to see which episode that was. I think that was like 4 years ago or something like that. Yeah. But just to see it all come to fruition, for him, and like the main thing was like, I even still go back and check like some of the like, how 50 Cent posts stuff all the time, but like other people was like, man, this might this might be better than Boondocks. Like, this writing's good. Da, da, da. And like, they're going back and seeing all the old stuff he did. People are pulling up the Kickstarter, you know, and they're finding the old strips. Not even like, because he put out a graphic novel too, but like, I think that's what his Kickstarter was. But like, the old strips, like, you know, you guys have something with the whole writing part, because to be able to like make people chuckle in that short amount of time, and for you guys to condense, you know, all the education and all the skills that you guys have into these small short forms is the key there, man. Like, you know, both UCLA, Harvard, like that's the part that interests me the most. This whole conversation to have it say, because it's like you guys are just squeezing all that knowledge into like just a little bit of time, and then like that's why it's so gold. These individual episodes is great. So keep going, man, because that's how it started. You know, that's how other people have started. You know, you're on the right track.
And it's actually the right approach, because you guys aren't spending a lot of time ironing out the bugs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're showing our work.
Like there's a really big difference between a 5-minute animation and a 30-minute animation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And not just timing, like money, artwork, all that stuff, writing, all of it is completely different. So what's really cool to see is you guys are ironing out all the wrinkles before you go in too deep. And the cool thing is you guys have that much feedback coming in already, and you're only doing 5-minute episodes. Right? Yeah. You guys are just getting started, and you guys got some really good positive feedback already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
good. Yeah, our motto is don't let perfect be the enemy of good. You know, we got to create momentum, right? We're perfect. Both of us are perfectionists, but I've had to suppress that because we don't want to get stifled. We want to just go. Right. You know, like just hey, look, it's like one of the things that we did not have and do not have on the shorts is sound effects or music. Mm-hmm. I didn't want it to be corny.
I was going to tell you this. Don't let me. I'm gonna send you guys a link for that. That'll help with that. Because I legit. I was looking at your stuff and I was like, okay, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about, but we're not going to talk about it here because I'm not trying to put you on blast.
No.
But like the backgrounds and sound effects and stuff like that. I got the hookup for you guys.
Yeah, well, put us on blast because the thing about it is it's too dude. Like we're aware of it, but you can only do so much with a limited budget.
With the
three people. Right. So it's like
and
what
part of it.
Go ahead, Pierre.
Right. Yeah. And part of it too, is like we're reading this book called Originals by Adam Grant. Mm-hmm. And he talks about how, like, in order to take certain risk in different areas, like how Bill Gates, and everybody talk about how Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard, which isn't necessarily the truth, right? He took a calculated risk. He asked for pretty much a sabbatical for a year and left Harvard, went back to his affluent, neighborhood and built Microsoft, out of his,
you ain't doing that on the West Side. Sorry.
Exactly. He was self-financed, right? And so he was able to take that calculated risk of, I'm gonna postpone this in order to, get something greater. Right. And so that's really what we did. Like we have, federal employees, we have secure jobs for the most part. But it was like, okay, we know the sound. We talked about like 30 Rock and stuff like that. Even when in 30 Rock, they have minimum sound, right? Yeah. Like you might hear the elevator door open, but you don't hear footsteps. You don't hear, you hear doors, but you don't hear all the birds.
And you're not gonna get that on cartoons. I don't care what cartoon you listen to, unless the footsteps have something to do with the actual story.
Right. But so a part of it, we were like it was like, you know what? Here, let's, the brain is smart. People are smart. They'll fill in some of this stuff, some of these, ambient noises and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it, we wanted to make sure it wasn't distracting until it was like, you know what, look, we're just going to put it out and see and get some feedback,
Right.
And so, and it's nothing, and also, but people are still engaged people are still engaged, caught up with characters without that, without the sound and things like that. And so also, once we add that, it's just gonna make it that much more better.
It's gonna go crazy. We didn't have anybody that we can trust. Like again, when they usually calls you open it up asking about the dynamics of our working relationship and all that stuff. Man, like when you're doing this, you're doing it long distance. You got to be efficient. You know what I mean? And we did not have someone that we can trust that could explain it to me in a way that I would get it and be like, okay. Or someone that, it would have been great. It would have been like, hey, Kevin, I put an episode, I threw some sound behind it so you could see what I'm talking about, right? Mm-hmm. Like we didn't have that happen. So I'm like, if I couldn't see it, I didn't want to be like, because that would take away from like the style of the show.
And if it wasn't right, then you guys would be looking silly.
Looking silly. Yeah. So I had to like make a decision. Like, man, I don't want to, because like working with each stakeholder in this process, it requires time and energy. And if we would have to, that's not right. And we were on a schedule. Like we were going to launch here. We really literally lost 3 months. We had all of this stuff ready in May, right? We lost time because we were trying to work with various people were taking us for granted. People were cheating us. People, we went through a lot to get to our current guy. We were taken advantage of because we didn't know. We were learning, you know what I mean?
Right.
People didn't believe in us, didn't believe we'd be here, right? So they're like taking our money and then just doing their thing. And we're like, what? Like
oh wow!
2 weeks have passed and we got like 5 seconds of animation. You're like, Pierre, does this seem right to you? I know this is hard, but like it's like 3 seconds. Like, Pierre, did you see the latest render? It was like step, one step. So So it's been so for me. I did get an aversion. I had almost an aversion to, stepping out beyond. And so I'm excited because like the music, all that stuff is going to just make it so much better. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and that's again that all comes with building your support system. Like Jack had mentioned, getting that creative director, all that stuff. You don't really need a creative director right now because you have the cart moving. Right. Mm-hmm. You just got to tighten up them hubcaps.
Sure.
And that's what it's all about. Let me say it like this: there are so many creative people that want to do what you guys are doing, but you guys are doing it.
Yeah.
And exactly what you said. And we've had people on this show that are like very popular, very well-known artists that they say, look, it's better done than perfect.
Yeah.
And kind of like what we were talking about before, your first episode is going to be at a certain level. Your second episode is going to be better than that. Third is better than that. We would be having a different conversation if I was looking at you guys and you say, okay, you guys are like 5 episodes in and it's getting worse.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you guys need to go ahead and take down that Kickstarter. And we need to have a family chat. This is an intervention, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is,
this podcast so we can have this family chat.
Yeah, right. But the thing is, you guys are legit doing it. You guys are doing it the right way. You're building your audience. The consistency is a huge deal. Even if you just draw a couple things and put out, images on Instagram, letting people know that you guys are still here, you guys are still working on it. Consistency is key. You have to make this process part of your habit.
I wonder about that. I wonder. We're in an interesting space here because we got like 20 days left in the Kickstarter, and we don't, I hope we reach our goal. If we don't reach our goal, I wonder like where we'll be there. My wife asked me, it's like, what happens if you don't reach Kickstarter? Is it the end of Furious and Fat Cat? I was like, I don't know. You know, like we're in uncharted territory right now. It's a lot of uncertainty. We believe in this so much. We love to do it. We believe in it. We see ourselves like in a little promo video in the writer's room. It's the truth, man. Like we really want to do that. And we've been wanting to do it for a very long time. This feels like the vehicle that can get us there. But I just don't, like some things are just faith. You know what I mean? Like we have the work ethic, we have the drive, we have all that. Some things just are about like, hey man, we got to get a break from somewhere that we can't see, and we'll see if it happens. We'll see if it happens. If it does, then that's cool. It's meant to be. If it's not, like, I really say this and people are like, no, don't give up, Kev. But I'm like, man, I've led a double life for 18 years. I've worked a full-time job and I've written, like Pierre said, I've written 9 books. Like I wrote those books, right? I know how hard that is to do. And now that I have children, I'm like, I can't, it's not sustainable. This level of productivity, like we created this all in like 6 months while working. This guy he's in the bunker. I work for Jim, right? Like I gotta tell, like we're serious guys by day and by night. That and have families. It's a lot. You know what I mean? Like I'm up today. I was working on, like protecting our nation, like stuff, right? Like today, and I'm up at night 1:30, right? So for me, something's got to give. We can't, so we'll see. I'm hopeful. I just feel like we're getting out there. We're seeing some signs. And like I said, creatively, it's not an issue, man. Like we're going to retain an entertainment lawyer soon. Get some representation, right? You know what I mean? It's important. It's a big step to show people that we're serious. We got some celebrity. We don't want to mention them right now, but we got some celebrity people that are interested possibly in attaching that we're going to sit down with. Hopefully that works out. I know that always helps. So yeah, cool stuff is happening, man. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, man. I legit, I have your Instagram up, and I've been looking. I was like, yeah, they're doing it. We know who you are. We know what you look like. We know what your project looks like. We know that there's a Kickstarter going on.
Yeah. No, I'm
exactly.
Everything that we can control, we're trying to best practice on everything. We research, we look, what to do. So we're doing everything we can control. Now we have to expand. We have to find someone that can help, that has like Hollywood intelligence. Like there's a whole different world out there that we want to plug into that we don't know much about. So we need someone who is both connected and intelligent enough to sort of navigate that space for us to say to articulate what we're doing for people so they get it. Like, listen, I went to OK school and I did OK in stats. What we've done, we have a statistically significant sample, right? Like 2 million impressions, 1.2 million reach. That's a good sample size, right? So what you can do is you can project that. We know who our audience is. We know the demographics. We know how long they're watching. Like we have all these back-end analytics. We need someone that can take that. Like, look at these guys. Their engagement rate is 35%. Like on reach, 11 is average. So we're tripling that, right? We're blasting ads to people and they're sharing them. They're sharing ads. Wow. We have people saying, like, literally, the guy was like, I hate ads. I hate ads so much. Every time I see an ad, I block it. But I followed you guys. You know what I'm saying? Right? So,
and you're like, thanks.
Yeah, we're like, cool. So, yeah, we need somebody to take that and say, like, this could be a hit if given, like, the level of engagement at that level. I mean, let's say Netflix has, 139 million subscribers? So let's just do the math here. If we, let's just say 10% of that is into our thing. So that's 13 million people, right? And then you get another, take 10% of that, that's 1.3 million people that are going to, that's a million. If you get 1 million eyeballs on something today, that's great, right? Yeah. Like this space, everybody's looking at other things. And we literally have the numbers to support that could happen. It's not like we have like 10,000 views or we've reached 2 million. You know what I'm saying? So like,
right.
You know, for the math guys, for all those people, we just need somebody to get in the room and to be able to really talk about that,
really sell that, and then
That's right. Yeah,
this guy will bite because he's like, nope, that makes sense. It's a great safe investment. Yeah.
Right. I mean, wouldn't you? You know, like it's proven. It just needs the audience is there, and then even like everything that we've been doing, we're branding already for you because it's already out there. It's 2 million people that have already kind of seen it. So like we're giving you a head start, right? And you could just yeah, man. We'll see. You know, we'll see.
Yeah, but that's kind of that's the name of the game these days, right?
Right.
Yeah. You have things like YouTube and Instagram, and so companies are almost expecting you to show up with an audience.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've seen it in so many other industries. That's the way. That's the way it's changed.
Because that's the way the pitch
music
goes.
industry is like that now. Yeah.
Yeah, music is totally like that.
Jack, I'm gonna kind of set you up a little bit, but that's the way a pitch goes. You can go in there with a great idea, and they say, "Okay, well, how many followers do you have, or what's your social media look like?" Right? And if you're just out here bullshitting, and you say, "Yeah, I got 500 followers on YouTube or whatever," and which is not 500 is a legit sample, but if that's all you got,
right.
You know, like I got 500 on YouTube. Well, how many do you have on Instagram? Oh, 50, right? Like they're gonna look at you like you're not that serious, or people just aren't into your idea, right, Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a certain amount of that has a certain amount of weight, especially in the internet age when stuff is everybody's trying to make something go viral, and it's all about how many impressions you got and how wide your reach is. I mean, I know you talk about Kevin Hart and how he sells his Twitter, separately in his contract because that's his giant reach, and I think that has a lot of weight to it. Then again, on the flip side, you get in the right room with the right person, or you meet the right person, and you don't have a following at all, and they dig what you're doing, or they believe in you, and you get that overnight success. I mean, I think it can happen both ways, and that's kind of why you got to plug at it from both ways at the same time, because they're not mutually exclusive for sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
True.
And also something that you guys might also want to take a look at. There's this thing called Frederator.
Mm-hmm.
And they go and they find things off of like YouTube and social media and stuff like that. And they try to figure out, is this worth putting on? And they have that network that you were talking about. But I think their main focus is getting projects like this. And if it has legs, then they'll also either pick it up or invest in it, or whatever. So Frederator might be.
Frederator.
I'll send you the link in the chat right now.
It's a production studio out here in LA. They specialize in kind of kickstarting indie small projects.
And they've picked up things that you've seen on TV.
They're very well connected. I mean, they've launched quite a few major projects.
I'm trying
they're
to
all
see
escaping me at this moment.
Yeah, like I'm knee deep in trying to share this information that I completely forgot. Like Frederator shows. Here we go.
They're Robot Chicken, aren't they?
Was that them?
Okay.
I think they started that. Yeah.
Okay.
They have some things that you'd be like, oh, okay, snap, that's okay, cool.
That's them.
And they're
Castlevania.
Fanboy and Chum Chum.
Oh, they did that one?
Yeah. They started Adventure Time. They didn't.
That's the one I was trying to remember.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, I know they've been on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, cool. That might be another one too.
So yeah, so there's a bunch of seems like there's a bunch of different avenues, you know, plan B, C, D, E, F.
Right, yeah.
You know, I've seen people circle back to Kickstarter.
And it's not even plan A, B, C, D. Like, plan A is set. Yeah. This is plan A.
Of course, I'm just saying there's other options.
Step B, step C. Yeah. No, I know it.
Done. You know.
Yeah. But no, like steps, like possible steps to grow this thing.
Avenues.
Yeah. Cause lad, like you guys, I say again, like what you guys have accomplished is not for the what's the saying? Not for the meek of heart.
Faint of heart.
Yeah, for the
faint of heart. Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. Like you guys are going down and making episodes and writing episodes and building an audience. Like it's there.
Yeah. Oh, the stats
and don't let, because this Kickstarter, boy, the Kickstarter will make you old before your time.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen a lot of them. I mean, you talk.
Kevin had a full head of hair. Like,
I mean,
4 days ago.
Carlos used to be a serial Kickstarter investor.
I did, and then I lost my job, and there goes that.
For years.
That like, fixed that right up.
There's a new one. Used to be a segment on the show.
Oh, that's why I was.
I found this new kegerator thing. I think
that's why I got up earlier. I got up earlier because I kicked in on Anthony Piper's thing, and I was going to try to find the book that I have, but it's somewhere. It's somewhere amongst all the other Kickstarter books that I've done.
It'd be a segment. He would get a new thing in the mouth, like, "What is this?"
This is my coolest cooler.
So we say that, but like we've been for years on the show now, we've been watching different, creatives use Kickstarter as an avenue. I mean, Carlos years back did a Kickstarter himself that was successful, right, Carlos? And we got
buddy.
It made you gray. It made him gray.
It made me. I'm not gonna lie. It made me unhappy for 30 days.
I remember Carlos in that same it's 23 days left. This Facebook. I remember.
How long ago was this, Carlos? When you did it?
Right.
Right before I moved up here. So I would say about 7 years ago now.
Was it that long ago? Really?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, I was making a video game, and I did the art and the programming. And so you think Kickstarter's hard?
That's the hard part. It's like we've done all this work, and then you throw a Kickstarter, and it sounds like, dang, that's a grind to create the stuff and get it all going, and then it's a grind to raise this money. You know what I mean?
It's true.
And people talk about it, and there's been documentaries and other things, and then other friends like Carlos and I had another buddy do a book. Do a book because he's really into robots and gather artists all over the world and had.
I got that one too.
Coffee table books, robots or whatever, and I forget what the name was. It Lots of Robots? Anyway, whatever it was called. He was like, you do all that, you do the campaign, right? You get funded, and then if it's like a book or something like that, it's like then you realize that evil third person in the room, which is shipping and
and that's the one. That's the one. If you can,
we calculated all those logistics and stuff like that.
Yeah, so
make sure that you account for those things. Yeah,
it's good to talk about because people hear and it helps educate other people when they want to do this.
Oh yeah, great. Because those are things that that's the number one thing. Well, number one thing for right after you do your Kickstarter is, man, you better get your logistics set. Yeah. I tried to do that by myself too, me and my little sister. Oh, that was...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
It was brutal.
Was that with the shirt? That was with the shirts, right?
How much money did you raise, Carlos? How much money did you raise?
I got 10 grand.
Right?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Most of that, I'm not going to lie, most of that went towards making the T-shirts and the coffee mugs and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, Jack, what did Jack, did you do Kickstarter? Was yours?
I did.
You did Kickstarter too. Yeah, I keep forgetting. Jack did it too.
It was not a success.
What was your goal, Jack?
I think it was also 10K. I think, yeah. Oh man, that's been a while too.
Is that 7 years too? Like
probably
like
6 or 7.
Yeah, you within a year.
Yeah, I think that was right when I moved up north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we got battle stories, son. We we could do a whole new show of just battle stories.
Yeah. And that's another thing too that folks, just trying to educate folks. Like when they say it's a campaign, it's truly a campaign. Like, you're out here, trying to hit all these different contacts and exactly, shaking hands, kissing babies, catching up with folks, after years and stuff like that, and trying to engage with strangers and sending Facebook messages, all that stuff.
Yeah. So when I did mine, this is I'm a glutton for punishment, right? So I just found out that my baby sister was going through kidney failure. I got laid off.
Whoa.
What else? There was a couple few. Oh, my TV broke. Like, I went through some things. Like
blues song, basically country song.
Yeah.
He was in a real life
I could. Yeah. My dog was okay, but yeah, no, it was like I went through. There was like 4 or 5 different things, and the reason why I say the TV breaking was kind of a big deal was because I was trying to play video games to get my mind off of everything falling apart.
Yeah.
So there was a whole bunch of people on Call of Duty that just got called all kinds of bad words. My bad, y'all. I was going through some things. And then when my TV broke, I was like, what the hell?
I'm done. But then this is good, though. Like you guys were talking about earlier, if you guys are in the same room, like I would say one of the things you guys should do, because Kevin, you mentioned like, oh, we should do this. I would definitely say do the video chatting and stuff like that. Like we've been doing Sketch Zone for years now, and like one of the things we talk about, just even as artists and as 3D artists myself, like the process of getting online and talking with other creatives like this, like because we used to do this before we did the podcast. It's like therapeutic and like it helps you get work done because it feels like the guy is right there.
It's true.
Like I'm a full proponent, even before I got the current job I had now, when I was just teaching full time. Like I was doing that every other night, and like for a while when my wife was pregnant with my first kid, it was like my Friday and Saturday night. And then once my first daughter was born, it was like she was right there next to me because I'm the one who always stayed up late because my wife can't stay up late. Obviously, it's like almost 1 here now, so I'm a freak of nature with the staying up late. But like it was a great way to collaborate, just even in the circles that I'm in terms of like 3D. And then we started doing, the Sketch Zone podcast out of this whole need for like talking to other creatives and stuff like that. So like It's a great way, even if it's like we used to have a saying like you can come into the chat, no lurking. You have to be doing some kind of work, share your screen, and you just have conversation like you're doing now while working. It helps. It helps so much. So like,
and it helps. I mean, there's silly things that like just now you guys talking about needing to fill some of the background with like sound effects and stuff like that. And I sent you a link, and then possible next steps. I sent you a link to Frederator and like other things. Like that's one of the big reasons why we've been doing this show is because exactly what Charlie just said. We were always reaching out to each other, building each other up and stuff like that, and checking in and seeing and doing that. We're like, well, we might as well do it. If we're having these conversations, someone else needs to hear this information.
Yeah.
And so we jumped in and we've been doing this. We've been doing this hot mess for like 6 years.
6 years, yeah. But it's a way to stay in touch too, because we were starting to get like get out of touch. And for a while, we keep in touch with Carlos, and Carlos was in my wedding, and then there was a point in time where I wasn't in touch with Jack as much. So, but like it's been a great way of like, as you say, keeping it do it the same way, so you see everybody. It's good. It has so many benefits. So I would say do that. Even with your animator, you know.
We need to. Yeah, that's I don't know why we weren't doing this to start, you know.
Yeah, there's a guy through the show that I met through my other friend. He used to be on the show also, and like we've not met in person yet, but that was Danny Williams, and I still talk to him, and he's another artist. I talk to him every other day. You know, we have a chat. We still do the chats and stuff like that, and that was based on like collaborating and being creative, you know, and talk. So like, yeah, it's great. Works out.
And what we can also do is I'm going to put the pressure on you guys to help make this happen. We can get your boy Vanek on, and we can geek out with him too.
Oh yeah, you can really with him. Yeah, he'll love it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Show off that work.
Let me know, Carlos. Yeah, and he's out west, so it's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that'll work. So I just started following him on Instagram. If you guys, meaning people listening to the show, if you guys don't mind, go to Instagram.com/Vanek, VANNICK, arts, ARTZ, and I'm going to add this to the show notes too. So you guys can take a look at the animator that we keep referencing in this show. And we're going to wrap it up because I know it's already tomorrow in Atlanta.
That's almost 2, man.
Yeah, Chicago. Yeah, well,
it's almost 1 here. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, KL, if people want to find you online and more about this project online and just everything, give me all your social media so people can find you.
Yeah. So at Furious and Fat Cat on Instagram and Facebook, YouTube Furious and Fat Cat. It's Furious and Fat Cat channel.
Yeah, Furious and Fat Cat.
Yeah, and on Twitter, I'm K_L Reeves at KL_Reeves, and then Pierre. What are you, Pierre? At
Twitter, I'm at Pierre Sutton. Yeah.
We're more concerned with we believe that the characters and the story should lead. So you know, I don't care if you follow me, man. You know, follow the guys, follow the fellas. You know, follow Furious and Fat Cat. You Google it, it'll come up. And so our Kickstarter is there as well. If you put Furious and Fat Cat in, that would be very helpful. Every little bit helps, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
$3, $5 a day, you know, just every little bit helps. You know, we need some of those little ones. You know, we need a lot of those little ones.
Yeah. So if you believe in making dreams come true, we also have the link to the Kickstarter in the description of this video too. And
beautiful.
Yeah. So if you're checking out this video, do not hesitate. Click on that link and go check this out. It's that 2D life, son.
Yeah, 2D. Right. Now listen, I was watching. We have Disney Plus, and I was watching. I mentioned this before, but with my son, I was watching Pinocchio, and that was one of.
How is it? Yeah.
Listen, Disney Plus is great for kids, and my son was engaged. Well, actually, no, Snow White we were watching. That was the first. That's the first. Yeah, isn't Snow White the first feature length animated film?
Yeah,
I think it's Snow White, right? So this is done 50 plus years ago, and my 3-year-old son, who's used to the world being like a FaceTime world, like when someone calls, he's not here, it's here, right? So he's born into a technological age. He's looking at Snow White and he's engaged, right? Bare bones, 2D, he's into the story. So they did something right there, right? It's a timeless storytelling, man. So I think we can definitely get it done with that medium for sure.
Yep. I agree. How about you, Charlie?
Yeah, you can find me on my personal website, which is cargocollector.com/CharlieBWilliams. You can find me on Instagram, CharlieBW3. And then check out that almighty Pinterest, CharlieBW3. Check it out. Get it in your life.
Hit it, Jack.
I am at sketchbookjack.com and sketchbookjack mainly on Instagram.
Boom. And I'm coconutjustice.com, and it says that I'm muted, so 1 second. Boy.
Try again. Try again.
Here we go. How about now?
You good?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
No, I know, but I don't know if the.
Oh, this is you, Sketchbook Jack. All right, cool. Oh, you.
Oh yeah, you're gonna want some of that. My man,
You want to get that?
My man's dope. My man's dope.
Boom, Sketchbook. See you.
Yeah, coconutjustice.com, Coconut Justice everywhere else. And this is Sketch Zone. If you go to sketch.zone, you'll see this is episode 190. What did we say? 3? This is episode 193.
Getting up there.
So yeah, if you go to sketch.zone, you'll be able to see all the other people that we've talked to. A couple of them have done Kickstarters and been successful. Probably have nothing to do with us, but I like to think that it is. So yeah, find us there. And if you can, catch us. We try to be here every Thursday night, talking to creative folks, or at least geeking out creatively. So if you can join us live, we like to have the audience interacting with us, kind of like Elizabeth, Shiloh, Landon. I think there was a few other people there too.
Yeah, there was me.
But yeah, we like to have you guys be a part of the conversation. So come out and check us out. And if you can't, you can find us, as far as I know, all of the podcast catchers like iTunes, SoundCloud. I think,
Stitcher, Apple.
No, that was the one that, not Pandora, but the other one.
Spotify.
That's the one. Yeah, so we're out there, y'all. Yeah, and that's please go check out this Kickstarter. Let's get this thing funded because it's that 2D life, son.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
All right, everybody, have a good week.
All right, guys.
See y'all.
All right.
Peace.
Hey.